Welcome to Mindset Mondays with DTK. This is episode 90 in an ongoing series of weekly broadcasts. It's designed for folks with a growth mindset or folks who like to hone one as a way to play with new ideas, new concepts, and new mindsets. So here's the playground. This is what we get to play with today. It's never too late to be what you might have been. So I'm curious. When you were growing up, what did you want to be? What what were the fantasy professions that you had when you were 5 or 6 or 10 years old, right? I know that when I was growing up, there were a couple things that landed for me. Yes, I had firefighter and policeman and astronaut, and that seems to be what all the kids my age wanted to be when they were growing up, right? But the ones that resonated with me, I knew two things. One, I desperately wanted to be speed racer. Now, don't go by the movie that was done in the 90s or 2000s. It was tragically terrible. Look at the cartoon that was out in the 60s and 70s. That's the speed racer I wanted to be. And I wanted to draw. Now, I don't know if I wanted to be an artist as much as I just wanted to be able to spend a ton of time drawing. And that's what resonated for me, right? And look, my fifth or sixth birthday, was rolling out this big spool of brown craft paper. You know the rolls you got at like a Kmart? And wow, I wanted to we used to draw these sprawling, elaborate speed racer scenes. It was just a gaggle of kids laying on the floor, drawing on this big craft paper and creating these stories and pulling out a thread of a story through these feet after feet after feet of paper. And that landed with me. That was something that I wanted to do. But if I could figure out how to have made that a profession, I'd be there, right? And I realized that so much of what I do now is finding the story and creating storylines amidst that field of chaos. It's almost like pulling the signal out of the noise. And it goes right back to the storytelling and the fantasy world that I used to live in. There's something I learned about entrepreneurs recently, like the difference between an entrepreneur and a manager. And I know I've shared this before, but for those of you who missed it, the idea that a manager's job is to receive a goal and then create and manage the execution of a plan so that that goal is achieved. Fair? An entrepreneur decides what it is they want to be true, and then they go about creating the conditions to make that truth the reality, right? As an entrepreneur, we decide what it is that we want to see as true, to be true, and then we go about creating the conditions to make that truth a reality, creating stories, creating the scenes around it so that that story becomes the truth. That's what we do as entrepreneurs. And that's what I get to work at all day long. So I don't drive, despite what my family may say, like Speed Racer, but I still get to play the storytelling and the creating. And what I love about this quote is it's never too late to be what you might have been. No, it's not likely that age 54, I'm going to all of a sudden decide that I might have been an Olympic athlete, so I'm going to go do that. I don't think that's within the range of possible. However, or Lynn, when she was growing up, wanted to be 007. So I love that, right? And I don't know how likely, Lynn, it is for you or me to become an Olympic athlete or 007 at this point. I think in our where we are now, it might not be a path. However, it's never too late to be what you might have been. What is it about that international spy that you can still be, Lynn? And what is it that storyteller that I get to bring to bear now? And what is it about the way we devour the world and the way we experience the world and the way we move through the world that we can tie back to who we wanted to be when we were kids? Right, Lynn, the intrigue, creating the intrigue and moving through intrigue. Look, we all have the opportunity to recreate and recapture what it is that we wanted and what it is that we desired as a child. And when we can take those desires and we can take those cravings and bring them into our world, we make that childhood enthusiasm available now. Doesn't make us childlike or childish. It brings that childlike enthusiasm to what we do every day. It keeps us alive and invigorated. It's our opportunity to engage every part of us, not just the, oh, we have to go to work now. So let's check our heart and soul and desires and craving into the closet, and then we'll come back from work and it'll be there waiting for us. That's not how it works, right? We have an opportunity to create the reality around us. If what you want to see is as true in your world is that you crave doing what you do every day and you find a connection in that childlike enthusiasm, then go about creating the conditions to bring that into reality. That's our opportunity, right? It's never too late to be what you might have been. What can you bring from those desires and those cravings forward to now? So the question I asked when I put out the email was, what old future awaits you now? So what old future, what were those cravings and desires? Lynn, it was intrigue. What was it that you wanted when you were a kid that you can create access to now? Being an entrepreneur is a way of being. And whether you're working for someone else, that doesn't mean, or not, it doesn't mean that you can't have that entrepreneurial approach to the world, that intrapreneur. Decide what it is that you want to see as true, and then go about creating the conditions to make your truth the reality. That's your opportunity. Then you want to create that global reach. You want to play on a bigger stage. You want to bring that desire to be 007 when you were a little girl to now. It's about creating the conditions for you to have that global reach, to make that desire your reality. And Lynn, I know you're already doing a lot of that with WBEX and beginning to expand your visibility, and you're already playing on a global stage. And then how do you make your impact play at that global level? What are the shifts to create? What are the conditions to create so that your impact becomes global, so that your reach truly becomes global? So look back at what you wanted to be when you were a kid. What is it about it that you're still connected to and you're still attached to that you can bring forward? What's the playground for you this week? What old future awaits you? Come to facebook.com/groups/mindset Mondays and share some of what's coming up for you, right? Share what it was when you were little that you want to create again, that you want to have in your world. What is it that you can bring forward? Would love to play with that with you and see what surfaces. So between now and next week, what mindset will you choose?